Podcast. Join Joe, John, and Jim as they discuss the biggest stories in the world of sports.
You put them all together, it makes a nice package, right?
Get ready
for passionate and intelligent conversation about the biggest issues and personalities in sports.
It's unscripted.
Somehow got mono. God knows who he was making out with.
Some people call him dirty. I like to call him creative.
It's unfiltered.
I'm going to need another beer soon.
And I said, well, hold on, you're making my point, right? My thoughts are, I'm going to call my therapist after the show is what I'm going to do.
What is up, Bean Apple fans? Welcome to another episode of the best Boston, New York rivalry show, sports show on the interwebs. So back with John and Jim, we're going to take a break from the playoffs, kind of talk about the three most important teams in football, the Jets, the Giants, the Patriots, break down what our impressions were of the year. Some of us better potential than others, but we'll talk about free agents that are coming up, who we want to keep, who we don't care if who walks, and kind of what the team should be looking for in free agency. So kind of some big moves for our teams to get prepped for the coming season. So with that, how's your guys' week going? Staying strong?
It's almost
Not
Friday,
bad.
so it's going good.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's Friday already. I mean, this week flew by.
I like it.
Thursday Eve is the second best day of the week to Friday.
It is.
So I think we should start off with Jim, with your Giants. Maybe we'll have a couple Giants fans jump on here. But we could.
Is there such thing?
We got one, right?
Now there's Giants fans?
There's a ton of them. There used to be 77,000 in Giant Stadium every Sunday.
And they all walked, Jim. Yeah. They all walked.
Yeah.
They all walked where? Yep. Giants.
Joe Judge. Judge.
We could talk about Joe Judge. So Joe Judge just finishes his first year with the Giants. A little bit of turmoil with the offensive line coach, having to replace him, and now it looks like the replacement's not coming back this year either. So we're going to have a new offensive line coach going into next year. But I think I was happy with his performance. I think the team bought in to his mindset, to his approach. I think they were rallying around to win games for him. I think there were a lot of games that I talked about during the year where guys were banged up and they were back in there at the end of the game and they were fighting to the end. And really that hasn't happened with some of the past coaches, with Pat Shurmur and with McAdoo. And, we had a couple of years there with coaches that the team wasn't looking to win, right? I mean, but I think with Judge, he has that presence where he's kind of instilling that will to win in my mind. But so I was happy with it with the first year. I mean, we went right to the end and had a chance to make the playoffs, which was exciting until Philly laid down for us. But I'm not happy with Jason Garrett, and hopefully he does get picked up by somebody. I don't think he did. I know he's been interviewing. I didn't hear anything new about him signing with anybody, but I'd be more than happy to see him be replaced because he didn't do anything in Dallas, and he doesn't really do anything here. Even though Jones says he likes playing for him, and he's been excited this opening year with him. Not that you like to see the offensive coordinator get switched a couple times, but I don't. To me, he's not the future for the Giants. But yeah, I mean, so I think there's it is kind of exciting looking at the draft class coming out because I think there's a bunch of different ways we can go. And I don't know how far you want me to go into this now, but, we're not looking for a quarterback. We're not looking for running backs. But, looking at the top 10, there's a number of ways we can go depending on who's up at the plate, who's still available when we're up at the plate. So, yeah.
It's interesting. So, yeah, I mean, I think Joe Judge did an outstanding job with what he had available coming over and John, you can attest to the success of former New England coaches over the last 20 years has not been good at all outside of. So what we're seeing now with Joe Judge moving on and Brian Flores down in Miami, both looking like they're building successful organizations there. But prior to, I mean, just big fat goose egg, right, for success overall. So even when they dropped down, like Romeo Crennel going down to Notre Dame and trying to coach down there too. Remember that years ago?
No, it wasn't Crennel. Right? It was Charlie Weiss.
Charlie Weiss.
Weiss, yeah.
And even that didn't work out too well. So it's just it's been a rough go of it for the Patriots coaching rotation there. Eric Mangini blowing things up for you guys and not doing anything for the Jets either, which was rough, but thank God for Spygate, right? So that was nice.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, yep. But I think Joe Judge did a pretty good job, especially losing Saquon. You got a young quarterback there, a young receiving core that's kind of coming together. He did a pretty good job, I think, of melding that unit together and getting them through everything that they went through was pretty impressive overall. So, but I think the big question you guys got, we talk about running through the free agency and what the team's going to look like, is former first-round pick of the New York Jets and current Giant Leonard Williams, who decided that he wanted to have a career year this year and absolutely blow up.
Yes.
That's what we thought we were drafting. Didn't come to fruition. Yeah. But what are you going to – I mean, what do you think the level of effort is going to be to hold on to him?
I think the issue is when you put the green jersey on, something happens to you. That's what it is.
It might be true.
I think it's gangrene gets in, and then it's hard to get rid of that, right?
Yeah. It's a nasty little bugger.
I'll tell you what, it takes hold, and but no, I mean, yeah, he definitely had a standout year this year, and showed what he was worth, and absolutely, I think that's one of the first and foremost things the Giants want to do this year. Aside from who we're going to draft, is I think Williams has to come back. I mean, that line, I mean, Tomlinson is also a free agent this year too. So you have both of those guys on the line. And then what's his name? Sheard too. So we got three guys that were on the line this year that are kind of up in the air. But Williams, Williams. Leonard Williams, right. We have to focus on and bring him back and sign him to a longer term. I mean, what is he, 27 years old? Have him, and then maybe we draft somebody, an edge rusher on the other side to kind of complement that and kind of, that would be a nice way to go into next year. Absolutely.
Yeah. Pair him up with somebody on the other side, give him a little bit of breathing room. And that could be nice. Also, looking at the list of potential free agents, guy who kind of came out of Saquon Barkley's shadow and Wayne Gallman, also 27-year-old running back. I can't imagine he's going to demand too much in the open market. So that's somebody I would highly, highly go after and try and hold on to. Is that backup for Saquon or change of pace for Saquon would be huge. And especially since you saw what he has the potential to do. Some of those games he was explosive, looked amazing. Other ones he would fall apart, but I think keeping him paired with Saquon, that would be big.
Yeah, I agree. As long as it doesn't become out of hand cost-wise, right? I mean, if we get into some kind of bidding war or somebody else is coming after him, they got Dion Lewis. They got, not that we're going to keep Alfred Morris, but, I'd love to see Gallman come back and be the guy to spell Barkley. But we'll see. I mean, I don't think he's number one on the priority list. There's other things we got to take care of first. But Gallman's been around for a couple of years now, and hopefully he's not looking to go anywhere. I think hopefully he's comfortable here, wants to stay here, and we get a deal worked out.
Yeah. And I think also Kyler Fackrell probably be a nice piece. He's 30 years old, but he did have a nice $4.6 million contract this year. So that's not anything that's going to cripple a team.
No,
but he's a good piece to have there for sure. So
no, he made some key plays this year too. I mean, I loved Marcus Golden. I hated seeing him go, but it seemed like as soon as Golden left, Fackrell stepped up, and all of a sudden Fackrell was in on a bunch of big plays, some turning points in some games, and I would love to see him come back.
Yeah,
I thought he was a key piece. He was a key piece for us on defense.
So I'm curious as to what you think they should do in free agency on the receiving. Well, not the receiving is catching, but bringing on to the team this year. There's some prize free agents out there.
Yeah, I mean there are, and there's a number of guys that you could look at bringing in. And some guys have some injury history. It's interesting. I'm kind of up in the air. I mean, you look at the draft, right? I don't think Devontae is going to be there when the Giants pick at 11. Chase, Waddle. I've seen a couple of them on different mock drafts where the Giants had either one of them, right? Or even Pitts. If somehow Pitts is there, and I could foresee a double tight end set with him and Ingram, I would think would be incredible. And not only that, I think that would help Slayton get uncovered and Shepard get uncovered, and really we could open it up. So whether it's someone like Pitts there or like I said, Chase or Waddle at wide receiver, it's just going to depend on who's available when number 11 comes up on a clock. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I understand the thinking of, it's a known commodity, right? When you go get a guy like whether it's a Julio Jones or somebody like that that's out there and available, but Jones is beat up a lot, and so's what's his name? And oh God, I'm drawing a blank.
Talking about
in Detroit.
Galladay,
right? So he's out half the year, just like Shepard is. I mean, so you're going to pay top dollar for a guy that's going to play 8 games for you because he's, Jones with the hamstring or whatever's going on, or do you go and get a couple of the kids and set them loose? So I don't want to overspend on a free agent wide receiver, even though he's a known commodity.
Right.
If we could get somebody in the draft. Yeah, or Odell Beckham. Yeah, let's
bring him back.
Actually, he's been working out with Saquon.
Yeah.
Both of them are working out together. So that would kind of be incredible. And who knows, maybe he matured. But, man, I'll tell you, after that game against Carolina where he was spearing Josh Norman during the season when the Panthers were undefeated, I think it was week 10, and they were 9-0, 10-0, and Odell lost his mind. I had to get this guy out of here. Headbutting the kicking tee and all that stuff. Come on.
Right.
No, I wouldn't want something like that either.
I can't imagine the Giants going too offensive in free agency. I mean, the draft, I think if Waddell or Pitts is there, that would be hard to pass on.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think if you could bring back Leonard Williams, and I see Shaquille Barrett is a free agent. Potentially, grabbing him and putting them on each corner. And then speaking of corners, I think you need another corner because you've got Bradbury who played great, but if you get a good cornerback back there to kind of help out a little bit, that would be huge. And I'm looking through Desmond King. He's a free agent. Be a nice pick to go after. Mike Hilton for the Steelers might not be bad. I mean, there's a couple of pieces there. I don't know. Do you think they'll go get Jadeveon Clowney?
That would have been exciting to see him come over. Even what was the last year or the year before? No, I don't think they'll do that. That's not really the Giants' style, right? They don't dive in like Dallas does and go after the big names and what a Patriots and go get these guys. The Giants don't normally do that. So I'm not expecting them
big
to
names. Who do the Patriots get?
Randy Moss. What are you talking about?
Okay, 1 in 20 years. Name 3 more.
I don't follow the Patriots.
Exactly.
Chad Ochocinco.
Terrible. Stop it.
Yeah,
he was a big name. He was a big name.
Okay, so that's 2.
If I think about it, I could come up with somebody else. My brother.
Corey Dillon.
Yeah.
How can you say that way? I mean, he played great, but how can you say that with a straight face?
Well, I mean, he was a big name back then.
I don't know about big name. He played for the Bengals. Do any big names? Actually, we signed 2 former Bengals, actually. Dillon and Ocho, but that was many years apart.
So apparently Cincinnati runs a very simple offense.
Yes.
And yes, they do, don't they?
Yeah, they
So,
must.
so the question is, could the Giants go for a QB if someone like Fields is available? I don't think so. I think the Giants have committed to Jones. And I think even if somebody like that is available, I don't think we go that route. I don't think QB or running back. I think it's a wide receiver. It's an edge rusher, offensive line, blindside. Yeah, those are the areas we got to focus on. I don't think if somebody like that came up, maybe we even trade out. But I think no, I can't see it taking a quarterback. No way.
If Fields starts slipping, that would be a conversation that you would think that the war room would have to have there in New York. Like if he's sitting there and you're like, all right, has Daniel Jones shown us enough to be 100%, or do we take this guy, give Daniel Jones one more year, and if nothing, move on? Like,
I guess it depends who else is on the board at that point, right?
Yeah.
If Fields is there and you do have a Waddle, or you do have one of the other guys that could be a big playmaker for Daniel Jones,
yeah,
I don't think you go quarterback. I think you got to bring in one of the guys that could get open. If Pitts is there or somebody like that, I don't think you go quarterback. I think you go one of the other weapons for him to be able to throw to and give Jones another shot. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and if the Giants go for a quarterback at 11, that means they're ready to blow shit up because they're basically starting over. I mean, they're not going to sit him on the bench. I mean, unless they're ready to truly give up on Jones, which I seriously doubt too. I don't see him. I mean, honestly, I see pass rusher. That's what the Giants need, like New England does. We need a pass rusher.
Yep.
Secondary, we probably need a tight end. I think if Pitts is there, I mean, I want him to last to New England, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't see how he lasts to 15. I mean, because if he's not picked up by anybody before that, I mean, that's probably the second or third best wide receiver coming out, I'd say, besides Chase and Smith. You know,
yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I think I would rather have Pitts than Smith. As good as Smith is, don't get me wrong, but I mean, Pitts is so big, you don't have to worry about anything. With Smith, one or two things are going to happen. He's going to stay small and really fast and be very injury prone, or he's going to put on 30 pounds and be a slower receiver that now has to rely on his size instead of his speed, which is what made him. So, but if he gets hit hard going across the middle by one of these NFL linebackers, that's it. He's dead.
Yeah, but you have to catch him first. Look at Tyreek Hill. How many hits does Hill hit? None.
Yeah, but Tyreek Hill
never gets hit.
He's still 200 pounds.
He's only
he's got a lot of muscle. Right? He's got a lot of muscle.
No. Hill is 185. He's 5'10", 185.
I thought he was 200.
But I agree, Smith would have to put on some serious weight. I mean, I'd say probably 10 pounds. I mean, if he's truly 175, that means he's 165. Right. Just like in high school, Johnny Muck. Thanks for joining us. I remember every Friday and Saturday, I would look at that classical flyer. Johnny Muck was a center, listed at like 190. He didn't weigh probably an ounce over 150, 145, but it was to intimidate the other team. Sorry, Muck, I spilled the secret on you, man. But I would say Smith would probably have to get to about 180, but how much speed is he going to lose? He also doesn't run a 4.3 like Hill. But the way I think his agility will keep him from getting killed. I mean, the guy can stop and cut on a dime. Will he blow his ACL out? I don't know. Would I rather have Pitts over Smith? You like that, Johnny? On 161. Okay, I was close. But I knew you weren't no 190, 195 like they had you listed.
That was with all the gear on.
Yeah. Coach Dempsey wasn't stupid, was he, Johnny? But I'd say probably Pitts too. I would probably look for Pitts because I think you're going to be able to line him up on the outside. I think he's going to be able to line up in the, on the line and catch those over the middle passes like Gronk does and like Travis Kelce does. You know, I think you look at it the same type of tight end, and I mean that's a huge possession receiver. I mean Gronk, Kelce. I mean when you need a first down, you could throw to him.
That's right.
And they're hard to take down. I don't think he's going to be as powerful as Gronk. I think he's going to be more finesseful like Travis Kelce and Kittle.
Yeah. It's really, you watch Kelce, speaking of him, you watch him and Witten over the years, and they all have basically the same move, right? You run right at the linebacker, and you're either going in or out, and the ball's in the air as soon as you get to the linebacker. So the plays that it's amazing that every team isn't doing the same thing. And yet I guess the other guys don't get the separation, but it seems like an easy enough play to call for the tight end to do it and be open every time.
Yeah.
I mean, when you watch it happen, it seems so effortless, right?
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to see, to have two tight ends and that can play like that opposite each other. Yeah, that would be unbelievable.
That'd be hard to pass. And the I didn't realize, I guess I just wasn't paying attention, but there's no combine this year. I forgot that it got canceled. So they've got the Senior Bowl this week that's going on.
It's going on right now, actually.
Right.
It's
And then
weird.
you're going to have a pro day, and that's it. So if you're not a senior like Pitts, your only opportunity is pro day to show off.
Tape.
Yes.
Now
The tape is already out there, but you don't get to go to the combine. You don't get to show off your size, your speed, your strength, all the interviews, all that type of stuff that you would normally get to do. So I'm curious as to how that's going to affect players, because if Pitts isn't a top 10, which I think he would have been, without a doubt after the combine, after you saw him, but how much is it going to hurt the juniors that the seniors get to play this week, get to meet with the coaches, get to show off what they can do? Especially like Mac Jones, like it's got to benefit him a lot, who's getting ready to get drafted by the Patriots. But I think it's a huge handicap.
I'm glad though. I'm kind of glad, because here's the thing: who gives a shit how much weight a friggin' wide receiver can bench? What does that have to do with him catching a football? I mean, these players are running a straight 40-yard dash with no pads on, nothing on. I mean, it's kind of like a false narrative that they've done with this combine, to where, okay, let's see how high somebody can jump with nobody chasing you, with nobody doing this. I mean,
in gym shorts and
So they train for these tests. Yeah. They excel at them, and players like Ted Ginn Jr. gets picked in the first 10 picks of the first round.
Oh no! Think of the true combine warrior.
What's a wide receiver from the Raiders that year, right?
No, Vernon Gholston.
Vernon Gholston, yes, absolutely.
Absolute
number 3 pick, right?
Sixth, I think.
Okay, sixth. Okay,
I think he went sixth. Absolute disaster.
Yeah,
disaster. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's worth it.
I'm kind of glad,
but it's a good. The only thing that I really see that's positive on it is you get that opportunity to sit down with the players and kind of talk to them as ownership and kind of feel them out and see who they are, and that's the benefit. Really,
I thought they were still doing some interviews. They just weren't doing the workout.
I think they could do Zoom
at the pro day. Yeah, they can do Zoom too.
They can do face to face.
What about the guys that opted out? How are they getting reintroduced?
I think they can still do the Zoom, but they can't do any plays, right? They can't do any plays on the Zoom, right?
They're practicing, the seniors.
Right. The seniors are, but for everybody else, I thought they were doing the Zoom, but they can't talk about plays. They can't have them break down plays. Oh. I was listening to it on Sirius this morning driving to work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. I saw I don't remember what player they were talking about, but one of the seniors that opted out this year, he gets like 2 days of practice. He hasn't played football in over 400 days, gets 2 days of practice or 3 days of practice, and then he's got to go and play in the senior game. So, I mean, that's huge, but all right.
So Jim, I got a question real quick. Kind of like what Muck brought up. Are you really confident in Daniel Jones? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your confidence level? Honestly.
I mean, I think the issue has been, I think it's a combination, right? So I think he hasn't had guys getting open. I think there's been, he's been pressured a lot. I don't think the line has given him a lot of time to make decisions. I think he's shown some signs that he can do it with running and getting open and doing different things. But has it been consistent? No, absolutely not. I mean, but I don't think it's time to cut bait and start over either. I'm kind of like, I think he needs, like I said, Jason Garrett, I don't think is the answer to help him. But I think we got to find somebody that can dial up some plays that are going to make him successful, right? Quick hits, get him to run a little bit and open things up for him. Because I think that, if given time, he could do it. If we get some, protect him a little bit and not have him on his back all the time. I'd be interested to see what he could do, full season with some time.
What about a backup that would challenge him? Like a 50 or something. You know what I mean? Holy shit, there's a legit threat that I may not win this job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I love that kind of competition.
Yeah.
He should have it. It shouldn't just be, you're in, you're good. No, you should have to fight for it. I think every position should have to fight and earn it. And could you say you earned it based on this year? No. I mean, he didn't finish the year out complete, and he stumbled at the 6-yard line and all that stuff, right? But
yes.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
I think you'll see I think you'll see the Giants in the same situation the Jets are in next year. Trying to make that decision of, are we going to extend? Are we going to pick up the 5th year? Are we going to move on?
Right. I think another year will help higher up decide what 2022 is going to look like. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's going to be based on this year.
This is what Patriots fans are going to have to get used to, because this is more of the norm than not, right? Like, you go through quarterbacks before you find the right one. And it's going to happen when you guys draft Mac Jones. You'll have him for 3 years. That's not going to work out. You're going to move on to the next Alabama or Ohio State quarterback, USC quarterback that's coming out, and have him for 3 years, and so on.
Who's coming out of Michigan? We need to draft whoever's coming out of Michigan.
No matter what.
Just 199. Just take him. Please tell me we have 199. Hold on. Let me say, because I got all the Patriot picks up here.
I'd say don't, or else we got to cancel the season right now.
Shit. 171, 173, and 207. Go. Hey, I would say 207 is our last. 207 is our last pick. Those are our last 3 picks. So that's where I want a quarterback taken, because that's when we're going to do decent.
Yep. Yeah, Johnny, that I agree. That's what this year is going to be. Is you're going to find out, is this your guy, or are we drafting Zach Wilson next year like the Jets are about to? But let's talk about the Patriots.
So it's really no surprise. First and foremost, I think they first need to find out who their quarterback's going to be next year. There's been zero talk about whether Cam's coming back. Is Stidham going to be here? Is Hoyer? I don't see any of them. But maybe for the sake of COVID, maybe you hold on to Stidham because you're not paying him anything. You know what I mean? At least he knows the system. At least he knows how to hand it off. You have one known commodity. I don't see Cam coming back. He just didn't show enough. I mean, I wish we would have had some weapons for him, to be quite honest, because no quarterback that comes in anyways, I think, will be successful, because we have no weapons. So that's going to be in free agency. So do I think we're going to draft a quarterback? Do you
want Cam back? Do you want Cam back?
No, not with these same weapons. No. I don't even know if I'd want him back. I know he played good against the Jets the last game, but still, I still think, and I've been saying this since about week 5 or 6, or whenever I started saying this, I think Jimmy G's going to be back. I think San Francisco's going to cut ties. Matthew Stafford wants out. Deshaun Watson, I don't think we have enough draft capital for that at all. I don't know. Who knows with Bill Belichick? I have absolutely no idea. Who knows? Trubisky may be under center next year, or Darnold may be under center. But I think if we sign, I mean, stranger things happen with Bill, but I trust his judgment. I truly do. So I see him going free agent, or somebody that maybe gets released, like a Trubisky, if the Bears cut him loose, and I mean, they're not going to get anything for him anyways.
Well, he's a free agent. They didn't pick up his 5th year. So
yeah, they didn't pick up his 5th year. Yeah. So
Stafford.
Now Stafford would be interesting. But again, I hope with Stafford they plan on signing one of these kind of big time wide receivers, because again, who's he going to throw to? Yeah, it's not. I mean, to me, that's going to be the most piece that they line up for 2021. But at the same point, if they don't get a hold of a tight end that can catch the ball, and a wide receiver that's going to, I mean, I'd take Jameis Winston too, absolutely. But I think New Orleans is going to keep him there, because I think they signed him for a reason. That was a good insurance policy for Breeze. I mean, 2 years ago, he did throw 30 interceptions, but man, the guy can throw touchdowns. And I think with Sean Payton, I really think Payton would work well. But I mean, I wouldn't mind Winston. I'd love Deshaun Watson, but we just, like I said, we don't have it. More realistic.
Who officially requested a trade today.
And if I was the Jets, I'm saving this for the Jets talk, but man, you need to go full court press on him, especially if he wants to come. I would hate to see it because now you got two really good quarterbacks in the division and an up and comer with Tua. I think, quite honestly, Watson will either go to Miami or the Jets. So either way, you're going to see, a potential Watson, Jones, and maybe your boy to BYU Joe at number 2. I don't know, but and it's going to be hard. But back to the Pats, Muck, I'm kind of with you. I like Stafford. I don't know if I see Stafford kind of being on the Patriots. I don't see him being a Bill Belichick. Look at Brady, look at Garoppolo. I think that's the type of quarterback you got to look for. And all kidding aside, I think Trubisky would almost be one of those guys in the right system. I honestly do. He's a straight pocket passer at times. I mean, he tries to run, but to me, he's not a very good runner at all. So he needs to stay in the pocket, and that's what Bill wants. And I would give him up for number 3, and I'll explain why when we get to the Jets, Michael. He did. He absolutely loved Andy Dalton. Man, I think he's on the wrong side of his career right now, to be quite honest. But again, that's another one that's
not a bad fill-in.
No, but I mean, are the Patriots going to the playoffs with Andy Dalton? No.
All right. Well, so
are they going with Trubisky?
No, they're not going with any quarterback.
That doesn't matter who's going. No.
Right.
No, so let's assume Pitts is gone in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume. I think it's safe to assume that Smith and Jamar Chase will be gone. Yeah. I think that's safe to say, right? Good chance Waddle's gone as well.
Yeah.
So if those 4 weapons are off the board,
I was ready for this question.
Do you take Mac Jones and sign an Andy Dalton type to run it for a year or two, and then even a 1 year? You sign Andy Dalton to a 1 year, and you give it to Mac Jones next year.
Nope. So I was ready for this question. I truly was. So what I think they would do is say I'm assuming we'll know by the draft who's going to be their quarterback in April. So let's say they signed Andy Dalton.
Yep.
They get to 15. Waddle's gone. Pitts is gone. So now this is when they let Gilmore go, because they're probably going to let Gilmore go. You draft Patrick Surtain. There's your cornerback for the next 4 years at a pretty cheap price at 15. So now you can sign what's the other cornerback? Jonathan Jones. So you keep him. He's younger. No, it's not Jonathan Jones. Hold on.
J.C. Jackson?
Yeah. Sorry. They already got Jones signed. So
not a Patriots fan.
So you sign J.C. Jackson. You got Patrick Surtain on the other side. And in college, he's a shutdown corner. He is. He's a great cover corner. Bill loves to play man. You go cornerback.
Right.
That would be what I would do, because now you're trading a $7 million contract for what, a 2.5, 3 at the most. So you're basically cutting it in half, and you got him locked up for 5 years if that's what you want. So,
you've said crazier things before.
If he's anything like his dad, I mean, he's probably going to be very successul in the NFL. He really will. Yeah. So
he's got the bloodlines.
He does, and I mean, he played for Bama. I mean, again, he's a great cover corners. I agree with you, Michael. He's the Bill Belichick hybrid, where he can also probably drop back and friggin' play safety too. However they want him to do it. And man, that's what I think they would do.
So all right, so shifting gears there. So signing J.C. Jackson, who is extremely cheap. He's coming off of a $575,000 contract from this last year.
Yeah,
he's your cheap side. But you guys have a lot.
Actually, he's not going to be cheap, though.
He just
had 9 interceptions for this year.
But I'm talking on who you're about to lose and the prices that you're paying for some of these guys.
Well,
he's on the cheap side of what you would potentially lose.
Right.
But I mean, you're looking Joe
Tooney, yeah, they're not going to.
15 million is what just about 15 million, just shy. Jason McCourty, James White, Lawrence Guy, Adam Butler, David Andrews, Rex Burkhead, who that probably let walk with that massive injury that he had. Just
play.
Demary Bird, also a free agent. He had a great year for you guys, and you're going to let a wide receiver who was actually successful.
Yeah, but
walk away. I mean, he's nothing. He's nothing great, but
you wouldn't have to pay a lot to keep him there. You know what I mean? You could probably give him like a 3-year, 12. You know what I mean? Guarantee 9.
But I would imagine James White's done. Burkhead's done.
See, I don't think White will be done. I think White will be back.
You think they'll bring him back? 29 years old.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting. What about McCourty? What do you do with McCourty? 34 years old. He's getting up there in age. Do you let him walk as well?
That's a tough one there. That's a tough one. And I think it matters who they're going to sign. Are they going to keep Gilmore and draft another D-back in the first round at 15 and let J.C. Jackson go? I don't know. It's but that's a lot of money for McCourty, but they're paying for leadership with him too. So
McCourty was $5 million this year. He's getting older. I can't imagine he's going to get too big of a contract, but
they may restructure him or something. You know what I mean? Give him a 2-year like 8 or something like that. 2-year 9.5, 10, somewhere around there.
Right. And keep him, J.C. Jackson together, and maybe get some pressure, get somebody an edge rush or something like that.
I'm hoping when Hightower comes back next year, not that he's a pressure guy, but he's definitely a cover guy. So hopefully he'll be able to drop back, give a little bit better coverage than our linebackers did this year to give the D-line a chance to actually break through and not let quarterbacks sit back there all day because, that's kind of what they did. So,
but you're also going to lose you're going to lose your top guard. You're going to lose potentially your center.
Possibly.
It looks like 3 and I don't know how you say his name. Jermaine Elmure. Is that how you say it?
Humanura? Oh, no, it's the Giants.
No.
What are you talking about now?
Eleuemunor.
Where is he?
Right below Rex Burkhead on that list.
Oh.
Guard, 27, paid $2.1 million. Is he a starter?
No.
Oh, you're just paying. Okay. But yeah, David Andrews is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're potentially looking at losing your center and your guard.
Yeah, but Bill kept a lot of O linemen for COVID, possible COVID this year. He even came out and said at the beginning of the year he was going to kind of beef up on O line, and that's why he kept 3 quarterbacks. He never keeps 3 quarterbacks, hardly ever. So that's kind of another reason why. So I don't know. But to get to Michael's question, I don't think there's a good way to answer that because if you look at it, worst GM in football. The last 20 years, I'm going to say he wasn't. He went to 10 Super Bowls. So, or 9 Super Bowls. Sorry. He went to 9 Super Bowls in 20 years. You can't call him the worst GM in football.
But it was that Tom Brady discount.
Yeah, but he also drafted really well for a good 10 years.
Yeah.
Let's start naming the players he drafted. Eddie Bruschi, McCourty, Chung, Asante Samuel, Tom Brady. He drafted Brady. Troy Brown. All these players that what was the guy who went to Seattle as a wide receiver? David Givens. David Givens was huge on the Patriots. He goes somewhere else. He's terrible. In fact, I think he went to the Giants, didn't he, or Jets?
No, he went to Seattle.
Deion Branch
paid him
went
a lot
to
of
Seattle.
Branch
That was
too,
Deion Branch. Yeah.
Yes.
Bill built that team to how Joe wants the Jets to be built by drafting, by hitting on the draft. And even when he didn't draft well, we still went to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. We won it. We beat Atlanta, lost to Philly, and then beat the Rams. So I can't call him the worst GM in football. If you could show me another GM that drafted like that, name 4 big money free agents that he signed besides Gilmore. You can't.
Yeah, but we've talked about, we've went in depth into the draft for the last couple of years, and how and now you're seeing, because the last 4 years he's drafted terribly, and the return on investment has been horrific.
Couldn't agree more.
And you could see the direct impact of that, because this Patriots team has always been built around the success of the draft and getting exceptional play from less exceptional talent, right? So they've been milking that well dry, but they've been missing a lot, and now you're seeing the implications of it. It just takes a while for that trickle down effect to actually take place, but now we're seeing you've got nobody to throw to, you've got nobody to throw. The running backs are getting weak. Offensive line now could take a huge hit. Defensive line, we'll see when those guys come back from COVID. So a lot of holes are now starting to emerge that are now showing glaring weaknesses, is kind of what
and that kind of stuff happens. I mean, not every team drafts well, and Randy Moss,
I can attest to that.
A 4th round pick for Moss, but we never paid him. He was there less than 3 years, and I agree. The scouting department did get depleted because they went elsewhere. Yeah. And 3rd, 4th, and 5th round picks used to be. I mean, the Pats traded out of the 1st round year after year for these mid round picks, and they would just nail. I mean, Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, both in the 2nd or 3rd round. I mean, they nailed it.
Yeah.
It's Bill was nailing it for a while, man. I mean, Wes Welker, they gave up a 2nd to Miami, and I'm like, how the hell are you giving up a 2nd? And look what he turned into. And then turned around and drafted Edelman as a quarterback out of North Dakota State, right? So it's like, man, it's just insane. To me, I think Bill has to be. To me, he's going to go down as one of the best GMs ever in football to keep this dynasty going in this free agency period. But now,
Brady was such a big part. Like, do you think Randy Moss would not have accepted a trade to New England if Brady wasn't the quarterback there? He would have vetoed that trade.
No trade clause, but yeah, I mean, he probably did. Oh, I don't know.
I think he had a no trade clause that he waived to go to New England.
Probably because he hated it in Oakland.
Yeah, or he would have just played like he did in Oakland.
Right.
If they had a shitty situation.
He would have been a pain in the ass and would have trade out. Right. I mean, was Brady the key? I mean, yes, he was. But, I mean, Belichick did one hell of a job of putting a team around him.
Hey, really if he was the key, Belichick was the lock, because I don't think the two of them could have done it without him. And I think you're seeing it. Like, Brady went to an app, like we talked about last week. That team is loaded. Yeah. Absolutely loaded. If Brady goes anywhere else, I bet you he's mediocre. 500 at best. But the level of talent.
Yeah.
The level of talent was just sick on both sides of the ball. The defense is still, I mean, the offense is so highly visible that you kind of lose track of how good the defense is down there too. The players that they have, really good. So yeah, you put Brady, if Brady would have went to the Broncos, what would they have done this year?
Not much.
No.
Yeah.
Not much.
And it took them a while to gel, right? I mean, him and Arians were butting heads early in the season, and they got blown out a couple of times, and there were games that they shouldn't have won, and the other team imploded, and that's the only reason they won. So,
no training camp, no training camp.
Parents took a while to get going.
So, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on. There really was.
Yeah.
But I think Brady originally wanted to go to the Saints because he thought Drew Brees was retiring. So that was his first choice.
Yeah.
So,
there's a bad situation.
Right. So, but I mean, Brady isn't going to go rebuild at 44.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. I think. Yeah, if you put him on any of those teams.
I don't think Indy would have been a bad situation, but would they had enough to get past Kansas City or Buffalo? I don't think so. I don't think they would have the offensive firepower.
Right. If Brady would have went to the Jets or the Jaguars or somebody like that and turned them into a 9-win team, then you're talking about, okay, this was the linchpin that was the Patriots, but he couldn't have gone to New York. He couldn't have gone to Jacksonville and got above 500.
Oh, nobody could have. You could have put, like I said, you could put Mahomes on the Jets last year. They went 4 games.
Yeah, it would have been no different than Deshaun Watson in Houston. No different.
Right.
You could put any quarterback on that team. You're going to win 4 games, maybe 5 if you get lucky. If you don't call a zero blitz, cover zero blitz, and let Henry Ruggs run past you, maybe 5 games. But yeah,
Brady didn't leave to go rebuild. Brady left to win.
Right,
and
right.
that's
He's
what.
like, where's there an all-star team I could play on? Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Tampa
And
Bay.
it just happened
Okay.
that two teams were potentially open. Tampa was one, and New Orleans was the other.
Yeah,
I guess he talked to Drew Brees too. He said, "Do I want to play there?" He said, "Absolutely, you do." But I'm not retiring.
Right. Yeah. Give me Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. And
exactly. He's never had that. I mean, he had Randy Moss for a couple of years, but who else did he have for offensive weapons?
Right.
James White's of the world. Yeah, they're great players. Kevin Fox of the world. Again, great players on New England. Look at Deion Lewis. Deion Lewis was a stud in New England. What does he do for the Giants? Jack shit. I mean, he really does. It's kind of sad to see these guys go and not perform. So Brady elevated them to the level. And Michael, I agree. Brady was a key to that team, but I think the person putting the other players around him did really well for 20 years and struck on draft picks. And Joe, if you're right, and if this draft trend continues for New England, we're going to be in a long road. We are. We're going to be in a long road to recovery if we don't strike gold on this next draft. We're screwed because that's 3 years from now. You're going to see that talent,
right? And you're talking. This is the best pick you guys have had in what 20 years, probably, 20 years. Right?
Well, that's why we may trade it. I don't know.
Yeah, but when's the last time you've picked in the teens?
I mean, 90s.
Yeah. So this is the best pick you've got. If you can't turn this into something, that's a huge hit.
And that's why I don't think they go for a quarterback. Quarterbacks are too risky. You go after like a Surtain, a Pitts if they're there, a Waddle, an instant playmaker that you're gonna, plug and play. Mac Jones, as much as he looked good at Bama, man, I just don't trust Alabama. Quarterbacks. I just don't.
And I think that's why the Senior Bowl is so big for him because he's not playing with Alabama players. I mean, Devontae Smith isn't even playing in the game. He's just going to interviews. So he's going to be on a team with normal players.
Yeah.
And if he explodes there, does that change your outlook? If he has an Alabama type game with regular players around him.
Nope, because it's not game conditions. It's just not. It's almost like two-hand touch out there. They're not going to be hitting.
These guys are. You think the defensive players are going to go easy when NFL scouts are watching them?
You think they're going to blast a quarterback? I'm not buying it. I don't trust it. I don't trust the game.
Well, even if they don't blast the quarterback, they're still going to try their hardest to get to him. They're not going to go easy. Even if they just touch him down, they're still going to. You don't have to slam the quarterback.
With all stars. So if you get
these are just seniors.
Right. But what I'm saying is they're all pretty damn good football players. The whole offensive line is made out of SEC linemen. I'm not shitting you. The whole offensive line is SEC linemen that he was playing behind. So it's like, he still has top-notch guys. So that's
it's not Alabama top-notch.
No. And I'm just not. I think at 15, if you really want to rebuild and build up your team at 15, you can't take a quarterback because there's no sure things. And I know there's not other sure things, but Pitts sure looks like a sure thing at tight end, and Surtain sure looks like a sure thing on the corner.
Yeah,
but even safety, that's my opinion.
So let's say you go into the draft and Jared Stidham's your only quarterback. What are you doing then?
Well, then they draft him one.
Trade up with the Jets for number 2.
Oh my God!
Wouldn't that be great, Jim?
Could you imagine the haul that they would have to give up?
Belichick's on the phone.
What?
Yeah.
Lost static on your line, Bill.
Does anybody have that elevator music?
If we're going to the draft with Stidham, we're in some trouble. We're in some. That means we're not signing anybody, or does that mean Stidham's his guy? Which I can't see how.
He has zero faith in Stidham.
He can't.
Yeah. Whenever the opportunity came to go to Stidham, he deflected. Like, no, we'll put Edelman in there instead. Like, that was terrible. I think we need to do a live draft show.
I'll do it.
Thinking.
It's like 3 months from tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think so. April 29th. Yeah. And we've all got top 15 picks. So, all our picks will be done. Well, you know what? New England will trade back to 27, and then we'll have to wait for them to trade at 27.
How do they get 27 and then like a second? Because right now, New England has first rounder at 15, second rounder at 46 overall. So that's 2 out of the top 46. They don't have a third. They got a fourth, 111, a fifth, 142, and then 2, 6, and a seventh. So to me,
right,
it wouldn't surprise me if they did trade back.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we got requests for it. We'll see how many people want to do a live draft.
Do one. I'll tell you what, we're going to do one. We'll set it out there and we'll talk about each pick.
It's crazy that it's 3 months away. It doesn't seem like that. Right? No. I mean, it seems like it's right around the corner. Yet when you say 3 months, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's a long way, but it'll be here like that. So
it will, right? It's
especially 2 shows a week. I mean, we'll cruise right to it. So
yeah.
All right. So John, quickly, because this is we're going along. We haven't talked about the best team yet.
Well, we talk about you guys all the time. So this is the
give me
my time.
Give me 3 targets in free agency that you want the Patriots to hit.
3 positions or 3 players?
3 players.
Do
you have a listing open?
No, but I don't even think I really need one. 3 shit, hold on. Okay, maybe I do need one. Sorry.
Quarterback.
Well, okay, so while you do that, I'll tell you
back, receiver. I mean,
well, so yeah, I think
check.
I think Kenny Golladay will be a big target for them. I think you want to go potentially with a Hunter Henry, maybe try and grab a tight end that you can count on. And then I think offensive lineman, a Trent Williams, Brandon Schriff, and maybe
not
even
a quarterback.
I don't think there's anything there that you're going to, I mean, yeah, they need one, but
there's not much. Outside honestly,
of the trade, Fitzmagic.
Who would I like to see? No.
Could we bring the Magic to Foxborough?
God, I hope not. So
what? It's Fitz. How could you not love Fitzy?
Because
that would give
win.
Give him the full AFC East tour.
I mean, it really would. Okay, as a backup, maybe. Yeah. I would love to see Allen Robinson in a Patriot uniform. Absolutely love it. But I think like a Wolf filler will be a little bit easier to do because of the money. That's how I mean, just thinking how Belichick does it. But I would love to see Allen Robinson, but you're going to pay him. You are going to pay him, but I think he's worth it.
Yeah.
I like Hunter Henry if we can't get Pitts. But God, now you're talking even more money.
But you're going to have that. You're going to have him signed before the draft.
Right. So very true. So,
but pair him up with Pitts,
and then honestly,
that'd be nice.
You know what? There is one quarterback out there, and
without a quarterback, none of that other stuff matters.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
So would I mind seeing that?
Ooh, man.
I wouldn't mind that at all. But boy, there goes our salary cap.
Yep.
So
So what, you guys got 50 mil to spend? You're going to give him 41?
Well, we got 55, but I mean, there's still some question marks with Gilmore. That's 7 or 8. You know, I mean, there's potential to get into the mid 70s, which I think they will be when everything's said and done. So I say maybe try and get Jimmy G, Matt Stafford, even though I don't like it. Sign a big time wide receiver for whoever's coming in. My favorite out there is Robinson. I just think the guy's insane. But if you do sign Stafford, do you sign Golladay or Jones? You know what I mean? And then a tight end. Would I like to see Hunter Henry? Yeah, but boy, it seems like he disappears for about 3 weeks at a time, and then he has a couple big games. And
but nobody utilized. Well, maybe Atlanta. Outside of Atlanta, nobody utilizes a tight end like New England does.
No, they don't.
I mean, they did San Diego
Kansas City, they do too. But
yeah,
and
San Diego did the longest time with
Fran.
Antonio Gates, but
Yeah,
and Kansas City, going back to even to Tony Gonzalez. I mean, they've always seemed to love their tight ends there, right? But
yeah.
um,
I say 6, Johnny. 6 or under, because I think they're going to be big signings.
Hmm.
I think they're going to be. I mean, they're going to have to be big signings. But I mean, it's just going to. Do they need top quality talent? And if not, I don't know. But like Jim said, whatever quarterback comes in, that's how they're going to be.
Yeah.
Build around that person, and if it's Jimmy G, it's going to need to be the offense that we had a couple years ago. So yeah, Hunter Henry would probably have to be number 1 on that list because they have to have a pass catching tight end.
Well, I mean, if you trade for Stafford, and then you grab Galladay and Hunter Henry, and that's a pretty nice little trio right there.
Yeah, I don't know if Stafford's Bill's guy though. I think Bill wants Garoppolo, and I don't know if he's going to be available or not. But I don't know. It's so hard to tell with Belichick.
It is. All right, so let's talk about the green and white.
And you don't even know if he's staying, right?
Exactly.
You don't even know what his contract is. You don't know when he's leaving. So
he's got to be traded or released, and I don't see them doing that.
I'm saying the whole thing's a mystery anyway. But
yeah,
how about the other team there?
Yeah, let's talk about the Jets. A lot of happenings, right? First off, Robert Saleh, new coach. That's huge. Absolute steal. I didn't think we were going to get. I was hoping we would get him. He was my favorite choice coming out because I liked the way that he operates. I like his mentality. I like that, they were talking about getting a CEO type of coach, somebody who's going to run the entire team, but let his coordinators run their respective things. I like that. I like that top-down approach to where you're overseeing but not overstepping, which I think is what you're going to get from him. And a great guy. I don't know if you guys have read any of the stories about him, but just an awesome story. There's a huge article on ESPN about his background and everything like that. And he's got kid number 7 on the way, which I have no idea how you could coach football and have 7 kids at home. Haven't got a clue, but
he's starting his own team.
Yeah, he is. And but I thought the really cool thing is his brother was in the South Tower.
Yes.
Oh, really?
And it was his second day of work at one of the investment companies, Merrill Lynch maybe. But he was on his second day, said he was on a break looking out at the over the Hudson Bay, saw the airplane go by, hit the building, and luckily he got out, obviously, or I wouldn't have told you that story, but thank God he got out. But day 2 working in there and had to go through all that. So, but what Robert Saleh was saying was this was kind of like, he felt like this was his calling to come to New York and kind of give back to was. And it's kind of cool that his first game coaching is going to be September 12th. So one day after the 20th anniversary, which is insane to think on. But I mean, that day changed his entire life. He was working as like just insurance guy or banking and stuff like that. And that day happened with his brother and realized, this isn't the life I want to have, gave it all up, went into coaching, and now here it is. So kind of crazy how the whole thing came full circle with that awesome story. I mean, it sucks that the whole thing happened, but pretty remarkable story overall. But yeah, great guy. And I love that. I love the pieces he's put around him, bringing LaFleur with him and Atlanta's linebacker coach he's bringing up who was elevated to defensive coordinator. And we saw how Atlanta played at the end of the year, a couple of games that just shocked the hell out of us when we went back and were like, had they win those games. So very encouraging to see both sides of the ball really looking solid. I really like what we're seeing. And now we're not going to have that static offense that we talked about in New York with everybody there. It's going to be a lot of movements, which is why I think Zach Wilson will be absolutely perfect quarterback to put in that situation because he's great on the move. So is Sam Darnold, but I think that, we'll get into that in the draft, but Sam going into his last year, first year of a coach coming in on a 5-year contract, you just don't waste a year with it. It's just not worth it to me. You do 1 year with Sam and then move on to something else or pay him $30 million for an average year. It just doesn't make any sense. So Mike, I disagree. I don't think Darnold is the move. And for that reason, like, why? You're going to keep him for year 4, and then you've got to decide, am I paying him $27 million a year? He hasn't shown anything. And even if he takes a step forward, he can't take the step to where he needs to be, that you're comfortable saying, this is now my quarterback. Like, the gap is too big. He's been going down. He's not going to turn into Deshaun Watson year. I don't see that happening. And then are you comfortable enough to give him close to $30 million a year? Because if he has a Deshaun Watson year, somebody's going to pay him. But are you comfortable enough saying, I'm going to give you 30 plus a year to keep you here in New York? And then what happens if that regression comes back again? So just cut bait.
Well, so you think draft a QB at 2 and start him this year, and Darnold's the backup? That's what you're saying?
I would trade Darnold.
Trade Darnold. Okay.
Yeah, I would trade him. I mean,
so keep Flacco as the backup to mentor him.
Yeah, I would be fine with that. But if you could trade Darnold to Indy, I don't know, maybe
there's your quarterback right there.
Yeah, for a second, I think somebody would do it. Absolutely, young guy. He's 23 years old. I don't think you can renegotiate a rookie contract. I think those are set. But so yeah, just let it go. Whether he's going to be successful or not, and I wish him the best. I was so hyped when we drafted him and they took Baker Mayfield number 1. I thought we were getting a gem. It just didn't turn out. It just didn't work out. Maybe it'll work out somewhere else. I think Indy would be an awesome place for him to go with that offensive line with Jonathan Taylor Thomas there running. I mean, you've got Michael Pittman, which was the USC wide receiver anyway. Pair him back up with all that. He might have some success. But yeah, you take Zach Wilson and go from there. But the other side is the Jets aren't really losing anything. Our biggest free agent is Marcus May, who we have to resign. That I think that goes.
Do you think they re-sign him? And they must have
so.
If they let Adams go.
I think so. I think you. I don't think you could let them both walk. You can't lose both of them, and you've got to keep some key players around to build around. So I think he is a must. You give him. I don't know if he's a top. I don't think he deserves top dollar as a safety. He's not that good, but he's good enough to be in the top 10, probably. Excellent player. But outside of that, there's just Jordan Jenkins. I wouldn't mind seeing him come back on a good contract. You could let Perriman walk. You could let McDougal walk. Brian Poole, he's a nice player, but he's nothing crazy. He's not worth $5 million, which is what they paid him this year. So a lot of smaller pieces. Arthur Mollett, another cornerback, nice rotational piece, but he's not a great cornerback. So we got a lot of guys that are good, and a lot of these guys are making under $1 million a year. So those are easy guys to go ahead and grab again if you want to. But Marcus May is the big piece. You re-sign him, and then you go hard in free agency. They have to get one of those top wide receivers, Juju, Gallman, or not Gallman, excuse me, Galladay. Who else? Allen Robinson.
Free agent reports predicting that Juju is going to end up going to the Jets.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Wouldn't mind it at all. They got to have options.
You think he talked to Le'Veon at all? It said, "Hey, how'd that work out for you?"
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, I mean, it's a new regime, though. I mean, Gase hated Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
He said he never wanted to sign him from the get-go, and you saw how he treated him. Like, obviously, never wanted him, never utilized him, and I mean, he
didn't do anything with KC either.
No, he hasn't done anything. But
I mean, it's like he's non-existent.
I'll tell you what, that year off destroyed him. Absolutely destroyed him.
He's not the same runner.
Never mind going to the Jets. If he just would have re-signed with the Steelers, he'd still, to me, he'd probably be a top 10 back, top 5 back.
The G word, Galladay?
No, Bell.
G. Huh? No, I think it's GASE.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
I think I'm guessing.
No, don't use the G word. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm guessing.
I'm happy talking about it now because it's over. It's just like being done with a deployment. It's fun to look back on, but during it sucks. Afterwards, it's like that was done. No, that was crazy times. But yeah. The only thing that worries me is this Deshaun Watson thing. And I know you want to talk about that a little bit, John, but it's scary to think about. And you've made great points. And I do agree with some of them. Like if we're taking Zach Wilson second, then that pick doesn't really matter. Right. Like, and that's an outstanding point, but what else do you have to give up on top of it?
So
that has holes everywhere.
They do. But I'll tell you what, you would fill the biggest void of, like you were talking about. Look at the teams in the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
Arguably, probably some of the four best. You take out Rodgers, you take out Breeze, which I think he's at the end. But, okay, maybe Rodgers should be in that top four talk. But, yeah. I mean, those playoffs proved it. The Super Bowl, I mean, Brady and Mahomes, you can't ask for a better matchup. But considering they just played the AFC Championship game, 2 years in a row? One win by Mahomes, one by New England.
Yep.
So, I mean, you give up this year's two. I mean, obviously, because that's how Houston's going to rebuild. Maybe. Also, their number 18 pick? Did they get 18 as well in the first round? Is that what it is? Or yeah,
Jets have 23.
23. Sorry, so
23.
So this year's both number ones, and then I mean they may ask for another number one, but I'd probably lean towards like a 2 maybe next year. You can't deplete this year's whole draft, especially if you give up the top two. Maybe both number ones this year, maybe another number one, and then maybe a number two. But I don't know, because right then you're giving up. Right. But you're still only giving up 2 number ones and a number 2. You can't count the number. You can't count the number 2 pick in the draft this year. So you give up 23. You give up next year's 1 and a number 2. That's only 3 picks. I mean, it truly is only 3 picks.
Yeah.
So, and if the Jets have the money, which they're gonna, now you can attract Allen Robinson. Now, guess what? You get Allen Robinson and Watson on that team with the wide receivers they already have. They're not so bad. I guarantee you, their tight end finally is actually catching footballs. Next year's first is probably in the high teens to 20s. So it's not like you're giving up a top 5 pick next year. They got the money. I don't know. To me, you get Watson. Watson wants a wide receiver. He had one in Houston. Man, pay Allen Robinson whatever the hell he wants. You get them 2 on that team, and you're going to start getting free agents signing for less money to play in New York. You just will.
I think if I had to give up 3 firsts, it would be an easier pill to swallow to give up the number 2 this year. Cause like you said, if that's going to a quarterback, that comes out that all comes out in the wash.
A wash. Yeah.
I would look at, instead of this year's first, next year's and the year after.
I don't think they would look at it like that though. Cause they need to rebuild now. Houston has 0 draft picks. So if I'm Houston, I'm saying, all right, you give me 2, you give me 23, you give me a first and second rounder next year, or maybe the year after, I don't know, or just 3 number ones, and still technically you're only giving up 2 number ones.
Yeah,
but
it would be ideal to keep that number 23 pick.
Oh, of course,
because then you could still go 23 and 34 and add 2 great players at that point, and still have nice things to build. And then you know what, like you said, that pick is getting worse every year.
Yeah, it's going to get worse every year. So,
so can you negotiate that out to hold on to 23? I'll give you the first next year, the first after that.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, now you're giving up the second pick this year, probably maybe the 15th pick next year, and the 32nd pick the year after that.
Shit, go out and sign Aaron Jones too. Sign friggin' Robinson and Jones.
I would rather draft.
Why not?
I would rather draft Harris at 23. I mean,
yeah, I don't see Watson sitting out of anything. There's no way. It's too much money. No way. I don't know. I agree, Johnny Muck, but that's normally for a college player coming out. Look at every single bad trade that happens. It's usually for a big name college player coming out, and they don't pay up. I agree. Don't trade for a college quarterback. I wouldn't trade up for one ever. But man, you got Watson.
You could add more to that.
Ricky Williams, friggin' Herschel Walker, and Colts. Yeah. Which one are we talking Colts here? Colts. Who did they trade up for?
But you could throw in the Rams trading up for Goff.
Yeah.
The
RG3,
the Redskins,
Trubisky.
Yep.
I mean,
did the Rams trade up for Bradford too?
Yes.
Or were they picking one?
No, I thought they traded up for him.
I think so too. And then they had to pay him like $100 million, and
then he got hurt. And Eric Dickerson. Yeah. I agree, Johnny Muck, not for college player, but a known commodity at quarterback, especially with the money they got. They can buy offensive talent around them. You're I won't say instant contender because I don't want to get Joe too excited. I see a little twinkle in his eye right now.
Yeah, but you know that if you were able to get Allen Robinson, Juju, Godwin, any of those three would be outstanding. Even a healthy Kenny Golladay would be awesome.
Shit, I would trade for Watson and be like, who do you want us to sign? What wide receiver you want? Because that's what you're going to get.
But if you
really want to make him happy, shit.
Yeah, if you did that, if you drafted Harris or Etienne with 23, and then you still have 34, and like we've talked about, every year somebody falls that's like, what is going on? How is this guy still available in day 2? Boom. There's holes everywhere. So no matter who it is, you could just grab somebody that wasn't supposed to be there, and they're upgrading a position on the Jets. So if you could grab a superstar wide receiver, potential, high caliber guy, a high caliber wide receiver, a high caliber quarterback, and just another blue chip guy that fell. I mean, that's the makings of something pretty special.
Yeah. It does seem like it's this is a turning point for the Jets. It seems like after 50 years of nothing, depending on how things shake out this offseason, you guys could be on the path to maybe, getting out of the basement finally.
Yeah,
but I mean, it really does seem like there's a lot of the money, the picks. There's a lot of stuff in play right now that new coach that really could, for the first time, maybe put you on the right path, which is incredible. But you're still chasing Buffalo, right? So Miami's still ahead. What do they do at quarterback? Does Watson go there? And then
Miami could change.
Yeah. But I mean Buffalo is still chasing. The Pats, who knows what they're doing. But
right. This division is not Buffalo is by far the favorite, but Miami was supposed to be explosive, and now they're, without Fitz, how many games have they won? Right. I mean, so if Tua doesn't develop,
Buffalo's catchable. I think Buffalo's catchable with a team that has Deshaun Watson, either Miami or, honestly, if he goes to Miami and then they sign one of these big time wide receivers, boy, look out.
Yeah. I mean, Buffalo needs a running back. I mean, they got to get somebody in there to get running, and
I don't know how Zach Moss is going to come back after that ACL, but I guess we'll see. But you're right; they need a running back.
But it's interesting to see how this offseason is going to shake out, and then how it's going to look for the Jets next year. Right? I mean, I don't think they're winning the division this year. I don't think they're probably still third in the division. But I think it's
a competitive second
beginning. Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, are they 500 this year? I didn't see the schedule. I didn't look at it, but could they get to 500 this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they can with Watson. I may be overhyping him because I love the guy. I have for a while, but you put Watson on the Jets. To me, they catapult Miami. I won't say catapult Miami because if they keep Fitz, I'm kind of with Michael where Tua, I love Tua. There's another Alabama quarterback. He just can't. A, he doesn't read quick enough. B, he doesn't have the arm strength yet. I don't know what it is. To me, you get Watson, you sign a big-time wide receiver, you get a good running back there, and then sign a couple of the free agents, hit on the draft a little bit. Holy shit, man. I think they catapult Miami.
Yeah, I think they could.
Because they're going to be fired up, man. I mean, just like Watson coming into New York, they're going to friggin' love him. He's a great guy. You know what I mean? How can you not like the guy? And then you put like a Robinson, somebody he can chuck the ball. God.
Yeah. And you know what? You could even get a tight end rebirth there and get what's his nuts back on track?
Herndon. Yeah.
Herndon. Thank you. Because by all means, he was on the up and up. His upward trajectory was unquestioned. Like everybody was waiting for the breakout this year, which just never happened. And I blame Gase on a lot of that. He never factored him into games. He had a couple big drops, and then after that, it was just like, all right, we're just done with the tight end. Like, no,
was Crowder signed?
Yes.
Oh man,
Crowder's not a free agent.
There you go.
I think he's got at least one more year left, and then you got Mims, who's had some pressure.
I'm going to be pissed because I really like Watson.
And I don't know. And that's the other hard thing is if you're the Jets brass and it's you in Miami, he's not in your division. He's either coming to you or he's going to be playing against you. So that's tough. No, Gore is he moved in with Adam Gase. I think they moved to Tennessee where they're something like that. So
he's signing with
Kentucky,
Detroit, so him and AP can run together.
Oh boy.
Oh God, biting kneecaps off. Oh yeah, we didn't get to talk about the Dan Campbell
next time. Yeah,
biting kneecaps.
Biting
knock us down. We're gonna bite their kneecap off.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. Best of luck with that one. But yeah, Mike, I'd like to hear what you thought about that. If you watched that press conference of him, because like I was telling them in the green room beforehand, like that took away. That to me, that has to be worse than the Adam Gase eyeball thing. I mean, you're talking about biting off kneecaps, and not just once, but you're biting off both kneecaps, and then you're coming back for more. Like that press conference was one of the craziest rants that I've ever heard. Like it was just, Adam Gase might have been on crack when he did his, but I don't know what Campbell was on. He was just like out of his mind with the stuff he was saying. I'm like, dude, just take a breath and think about the stupid stuff that you're saying for a second. Somebody jump in there and be like, oh, hold on, bathroom break, pull it away.
Right.
Yeah, for the first time, the Jets are actually not the laughing stocks. Thank you, Detroit, for that. God. But yeah, the whole coaching thing was also we were talking about that as well with Bieniemy not getting a coaching job, and the new coach of the Texans, what is it, Cully, right? Who's never had an offensive coordinator position or defensive coordinator position in his NFL career, and he's been coaching since like 93, I think, and he's never been an offensive or defensive coordinator. How does that how are you qualified for that job at that point? Because you're the assistant coach of the Ravens. That's just very weird. Like you're the last man standing, and you've got your choice of two of the top three candidates that were highlighted with Bieniemy and Dable, and this is who you hire. What does that say about your franchise? Did they turn the job? They must have turned the jobs down. You were just like, we got to hire somebody. Anybody want the job? Somebody apply? Anybody?
Next guy through that door.
Right. I just could. When I saw that pop up, I was like, who is this guy? Like that blew my mind. There's whatever. It's not the Jets, so I'm super happy that the Jets aren't the ones that are making these decisions. And like you said, it seems like the right guys coaching. They've got the organizational structure right. They're not both answering to the owners like has been for the last couple of years. It's all in a line. So I think we got the right guys. We got the right moment with coaches and players, and whichever way the draft goes. I think if they take Wilson 1, or if they get Deshaun Watson, you can't go wrong with that. I think either way, you're getting a top level quarterback. Watson is very much better than Wilson because he's completely unproven, but Wilson has a lot of potential to be, I think, really good. So a ton of first round picks, ton of money, great coach, potentially great coach.
If anybody can wrap it up, though, besides the Cleveland Browns, it is the New York Jets.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. So
Gang Green. Once that
Gang
Green settles in,
then you're done.
Yeah, you just start cutting things off.
The life out of you, man. Your limbs fall off. It's a terrible experience.
Bad news. There's no cure. There's no cure.
No, you just got to cut it off.
I agree with that. I don't know how this guy's going to do. I wish him luck, but my God, he's inheriting an absolute shit show. That's why I think they start over. I think they have to trade Watson. They need to start over, fresh with a coach, just to give the guy a chance.
Yeah.
Let him draft a rookie.
It's going to be something to see. It's going to get hot, I think, real quick. But
Houston was like a quarter away from beating friggin' Kansas City. What were they up 24-0 in the playoffs 2 years ago?
Yeah,
it was 24-0, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And now the second quarter. So you went from AFC Championship, almost going to the AFC Championship to that. It's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
And it's insane. Within 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's what we're talking about with the Patriots too. Bad decisions from the top. I mean, just decimate everything. And that Bill O'Brien destroyed that team. I mean, they are going to pay that price for years.
Difference between what happened in Houston and
No, but just talking about the draft and how much that's affected New England. And
trading the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, for scraps.
Come on.
Yeah, just everything Bill O'Brien did was just a disaster. And now he's going down to Alabama, so I can only imagine what's going to happen down there. Finally, Alabama's not going to be a powerhouse anymore. Maybe they'll sign. They can get Adam Gase down there too. Let everything just fall apart. So yeah. Anyway, all right. So you guys got anything else? This one went went long, but at least we got to revisit our teams. We haven't got back into our own neck of the woods in a few weeks. Felt good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Felt good. So, all right, guys. So let's see. So we'll probably do a sneak peek of Super Bowl, kind of start breaking that down next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then really get into it in a preview show after that.
Yep.
And go from there. And and then definitely
hold the phone.
Damn it. I don't have that. I still don't hear. How about this?
How is that even a soundbite?
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Why would they even say that? What were they cheering about?
Better. Really? Oh man, come on! You guys have been to Jets games. I mean,
actually, so I'll tell you something. I've only been to one Jet game in my life. My brother and I went. He was in college.
This isn't another broken window joke, is it?
No, I do replay that every once in a while when I want to laugh because John's laugh and that clip is great. My brother and I went to a Jet game and we're in the first row, right against the field, and the game's getting ready to start. And all of a sudden, our group, our section goes crazy, and we don't know what the hell's going on. And here comes Fireman Ed down the steps on his brother-in-law's shoulders, doing the whole Jets thing. And this is probably like 1990. Actually, Jerry Rice and John Taylor were playing for the 49ers, and Taylor broke his leg in that game. So we can look it up and figure out which game it is. But he came down and the whole crowd went crazy. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And obviously the whole crowd knew who he was, man. And you want to talk about electricity. That guy gets things going, man. You goosebumps everywhere. I mean, the game didn't even start yet, and everybody was electric. It was crazy. I don't know if my brother remembers that or not, if he's still on. But yeah, that was something else.
Yep. Yeah, it does bring an awesome energy there, and especially when you go from the crowd's amped and ready to go, and then he quiets 70,000 people to you could hear a pin drop. It's so quiet, waiting for him to initiate the chant, which is it's wild. It's like you said, like the whole place gets so quiet, you just get chills, and then it just erupts right before kickoff. It's such an awesome experience. John, you're there. You need to go down to a Jets Patriots game, and check it out.
Yeah, when they have fans in the stands again.
Can't hear you. Are you muted?
He's something else.
Okay,
there you are. Gotcha.
I said, absolutely, I'll go, but you guys need to meet me there. Jim, come on up, man. We can hang out in Foxborough, brother.
I'll go. Hey, man, I'm up for anything. So
what we normally do is we go to Foxwoods the night before. We gamble and drink like we're 18 years old again.
I could do that.
Feel terrible in the morning. Eat a nice, terrible breakfast.
Check.
Which includes beer and some. And we drink all day and night, and then I pay for it for about a month. You know,
That's probably what I'll feel too. Yeah,
it's an absolute blast, man. So I'll tell you what, if we can go to games next year, Jim, come on up and we'll meet up and right there and we'll go down the Foxwoods as well. Joe,
you got it.
Yeah.
fly out. Take some of your Apple money, man. All right.
Yeah.
Let him keep it all.
Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Craig Cart.
So I did see that. I did see this documentary. Did you guys see this?
No, but he's the guy that got arrested or some shit, right?
Yeah. He was selling tickets and doing all this stuff, and he was on the show with Boomer. Yeah, I mean, I think my brother told me about this, and I watched it. Yeah, it's something what he went through and what he was doing. I mean, this guy would go down to AC, take a helicopter down to AC, throw dice, gamble all night long, drugs, fly back 5 a.m. right to the studio, right on the mic. I'm like, how can you keep going? I mean, the life he was living was incredible. I mean, you got to watch it. It's on. Is it on HBO? I thought it was like on Netflix or something. But yeah, I saw it. It's I don't know the name of it.
Hired though, right? Didn't this radio?
He just came back. Well, he got out of jail.
Yeah,
he got out of jail. Now he's back on, and yeah, I mean, and the amount of money that he was playing with, and oh my God, it was just
embezzling it, right? Wasn't he embezzling or
there was a lot of stuff out.
Weird trading or some crazy shit.
Yeah. I think he was it was with tickets, concert tickets, and oh man, it was out of control.
Wild Card.
Yes, that's it
on HBO.
Yeah, you got to watch it. It's wild to think he was doing this. Yeah, you see him on a show, and he was always over the top, but he was that's the life he was living. I mean, crazy.
I'll definitely check it out. And
that was a good one.
And I don't know if your brother's still on here. We could drop a pitch for the Squares League if anybody wants to get in on that.
I need to just check out my PayPal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's here, but if you guys want to, Jim's brother is putting together a Super Bowl Squares game. If you're interested, hit one of us up or leave a comment. We can get you a link to it. It's $100 a square, and may the best man win. So if you're interested in getting in on that, there's still a good number of squares open. So
sure.
Leave a comment or something, and we'll get with you and go from there. So in the meantime, I got to go watch a documentary apparently. So all right. So guys, thank you as always for your participation. Johnny Muck, thank you, man. Always extremely engaged. I love all the interactions and your little sidebars there. We just got to work on your timing of your hold on a second. and then
well, 15 seconds, I think, right?
I know it's a delay.
Seconds, yeah.
Right. But yeah, man, I appreciate it. I know we all appreciate you guys chiming in and commenting and making the show a blast and spending some time with us. It's really means a lot that you guys take a little bit of time out of your day to spend with us and just talk about sports and have some fun. So as always, for John, for Jim, I'm Joe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.